Now I am pleased to introduce our first panel moderator, Nicholas Japaridze, Georgian-born architect. Actually, I really need to add something today because I nearly skipped the very important part. We should appreciate his presence here in a double way because he's spending one of his most significant days in his life with us. He's having a birthday today, so let me give warm birthday wishes to Nicholas and good luck in your panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you hear me? So we have really limited time today, but the discussion will be about the relationship of the developer and the city through the ways of preserving the heritage. So I would like to ask to join me on this discussion Jamie Wallace, who was just presenting the Associate Director of Wilkins-Air, who was just presenting. Tatia Guineria, who is an art historian and cultural heritage specialist. Mr. Levan Kandarishvili, who is an associate professor at the Free Uni Visual Arts, and he's a researcher and an architect. And Vados Desashvili, who is an architect educated in Svienza in Rome, who is specializing in reuse and regeneration and adaptation, who currently works on Gelati Monastery. Yeah. So we have a few topics basically which I would like to introduce. So in general, what we would like to highlight is the Soviet Georgian architectural importance, which we know has been neglected and it has not been really addressed very well, and so we are trying to kind of in this very brief discussion just to tell few things how we're gonna what are our recommendations for the for this topic. So the topics are the historic research importance of Soviet architecture, a building heritage listing. So probably Jamie could say a few words about the UK examples of listing. Then developer and city priorities, the financing, land law, and private ownership. Restoration, generation, and adaptation, and sustainability and material supply chain. So please, maybe Tatia, you can tell us about the importance of historic research. We have about 3-4 minutes for us.
Thank you, and happy birthday, first of all. I'm very honored to be here and take part in this very interesting talking because cultural heritage is for Georgia is very important, you know. What is heritage? It's non-renewable resource. Culture is not, heritage is not renewable resource, and for me, it's the roots on which stay the history of all countries and particularly in Georgia. Why it's important research, historical research, because unfortunately we don't know more about our heritage, and we have very rich cultural heritage in all definition because we have together incredible movements, tangible and also intangible heritage. We have landscapes also, amazing landscapes of Georgia, and for me, heritage is everything together. Because when you travel around the Georgia, in mountain, in valley, like this, you can find everything, and you can feel the richness of our heritage, and I think it's our root. Why it's important to research? Because unfortunately we don't know about our heritage also. We have for sure some heritage list listed in the monuments of cultural heritage, but we don't know some deeper about this, and I think completely we need to understand what is our culture and how the value it have. It's some small group researcher who understand the deeper these issues, but the main population don't understand, because I think for us heritage is like in a toast, just a toast. I like my country, this is my heritage, but when we working on it deeper in regarding on the building, on landscape, on like this, we don't know nothing. And it's very important to talk about it. Sometimes we need to scream about it, because to understand to the government also, to the people also, not specialists, to people also, how is valuable our heritage and what this.
Yeah, I would like to switch with to Jamie about if you can tell in a few words about the importance of listing of a building, of those 4 grades we have in the UK.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So the UK has a system of protecting historic buildings, which is kind of driven by the values that we as a society kind of place. And so the kind of listing process changes, the types of buildings that we value changes as our society and culture evolves. But fundamentally, it's organized by a series of categories that kind of create different layers of protection. So at the highest level, you get grade 1. So this is things like St. Paul's Cathedral, Buckingham Palace, these kind of major elements, monuments to, exactly, historic monuments. Grade 2 star. So for example, Battersea Power Station was grade 2 star. As well as various other buildings. This is a kind of the second layer down, and then grade 2, and then you get locally listed buildings. And I mean, it's a kind of great thing, and it's also a problematic thing, because for it to work, it relies on the quality of the conservation officers that work in local government, the quality of the planning officers that work in local government, to have a kind of conversation about how you interact in a building. Battersea is a very good example. It's grade 2 star. People really, really care about it, but at the same time, it was derelict for 30 years because it cost $1 billion to actually transform that into something, and not many people have that kind of money. And so that had to be a negotiation in terms of what do we try and save and what are we allowed to change. And you know, without a kind of very highly skilled and interested and curious local authority to have that conversation with, it's inevitably going to end up in failure.
Yeah, it's very important when you enable developer to put money into the property which has listing, and the listing has great importance in a way that sometimes you list the building and developer can't touch it because it's too expensive, and then it rots. So there is a moment when you have these gradations of what are the parts of important which you need to save from the building and preserve its original character. So I want to switch to Levan and talk about developer and city priorities, financing, and the land law and property ownership. That kind of relationship, if you can shed a few lights on it.
Yeah, I want just to start with the title of our meeting. It's a bridge between intangible and intangible. And in Georgian we have a word tanjua, which means torment. So for all parties who are involved in this process, it's a real torment. Any architect who has a case with old city rehabilitation experience all these problems, because there are so many parties and you need consensus on something. Yeah. And until this consensus is not between parties, you can't achieve anything. Because your civic participation, for example, you are speaking with the people who are living in this damaged, deteriorated building. And the one position is that, yes, this is listed. Okay, grade B or grade C, it's not so important. But this is listed building. What to do? What is escape in this situation? we should be flexible, we should be in many ways suggesting something new, innovative, but you know, it's always difficult to speak with both with the city governance, city government, to the people who are without the party. You can make best financial model for them. You can ask some other sources to fund this important project.
So you think the public participation is quite important in a way of how we...
Yeah, but is this public ready for these negotiations also? This is another case, because these people, how these people get in this heritage.
Well, in England, for example, there is a law of public participation. You have to have a public
laws are because to violate them. So we have a case when, in most cases, they're violated. Exceptional, we like these exceptional cases. Every time you are applying to it, there is some exception. You want one attic floor, exception. I don't think, we should think together about it. It's a very painful question for old city. We will be speaking about modernist city, but it's another case.
I would like to continue this exception with Vato, who is actually working on a really exceptional property and making this kind of huge effort for forest restoration, adaptation, and regeneration somehow. How do you kind of distinguish these three different points in that particular historic context?
Yeah, hi everyone, and you know, as we are talking about architecture, you talk, you know, about there is a Gelati Monastery. It's a World Heritage Site. We have Hrushevkas, we have Stalinkas in Tbilisi. And they are all architecture, and we should approach them as how to say, with the principles of restoration. So when we have the same use that didn't change, so you go to the straight restoration. If we should adaptate something to another function, so you are more free. And if this depends, if we saw before the beautiful works of industrial heritage, but they are like they are gems to be reused, so you have a good material to work with. You know that, but all these kind of things, they share the same concepts of restoration. So because we should preserve something for the future, we should give the new life in some cases, and but the problem is when you are dealing with when you're dealing with developers. So because the modern society is like want to have a more profit possible. So in some cases it goes in conflict with principles of restoration. So that's a very thin line. For example, when you can.
From your Italian experience, what would you say, like the cornerstone of that relationship?
Italy is
Where
not
is
a
the
good
ratio of relationship of
Italy and Rome
and the private ownership and the city?
Italy and Rome, specifically where I was where I was living for a long time, it's not a good example because inside of the mura, it's fortification. You can build anything, and it cannot be higher than St. Peter's Dome. So it's not a written law, but it's like and. So there, to get the permit for the restoration work or for new building, it took like years. If you put some Georgian developer to develop some piece of land in center of Rome, it will because it's investment for the 10 years. So because the Rome and the city and that when you are dealing also with this kind of heritage, you should think that that part of city or that building had the story before you and will have a story after you. So you are the fragment of his life that you should reuse it in the best way possible.
But that relationship with the developer and the city, if you don't have a listing, or if you don't have that mechanism which kind of prevents someone to entering.
Yeah, that there is a very
the profit is which drives
in Georgia because it's like 6 years that I'm working here after moving from Rome, and it's like what I was note that the building techniques we used it for cultural heritage or for use. It's not adequate. You know that how to say. In some cases they prefer to demolish and rebuild the same as to make some consolidation works, because the consolidation works here, first you don't have a good engineer who can calculate you how you should consolidate, and then if you find someone, it will cost you like triple than make it the same in the.
The next.
So this is quite complex, and in archaeology, for example, there is some when you are getting some piece of archaeology which is interesting, yeah, and you didn't have enough money to maintain it, it's better to do not discover it. So sometimes we should I don't know, we should think about the future, maybe touch it when we are more prepared, you know.
Well, it brings us to a next kind of difficult topic of insurance as well, but which is not part of the property business in Georgia yet. It is in parts, but like this relationship of insurance as well. But it's a next difficult subject. But about the materials which you said, which you could use, I want to bring maybe. Jamie, you could talk about a little bit about sustainability and material supply chain. For example, how you used it in Battersea Power Station. What are the kind of pinnacle of the sustainability in architecture today in the supply chain?
Yeah, of course. But before, I just kind of talk a little bit about that, because it's a very interesting topic about how do you actually get it done, you know, with all the kind of pressures of contemporary economics and the way cities are made. But I mean, Battersea is an example, but it's of a very big scale where that huge investment that a developer put into that project, it was in a way, I mean, they have turned a profit on it in the end, but actually it was kind of, it wasn't a sure thing. But what was a sure thing is that by creating this kind of incredible monument in the center of their development, the land values around it were raised enormously. So they made a huge amount of money from all of the residential and office space that they've built. And actually you see this, okay, yes, Battersea was listed, so they had to keep it. But you see this in contemporary Chinese cities a lot. And I've worked on some of these projects, particularly with 20th century heritage, where like industrial heritage, where actually they turn them into something, culture institutions, co-working spaces, but the intention is to attract people and raise land values, and then they make all the money by building a lot of residential around it. In some ways this is fair enough. This is the negotiation. We get to keep this amazing stuff, and in return they're allowed to do what they need to do. So I think there is a way to do it, but sorry.
That's a very interesting way of finding the ways of leverage and levies. For like in the UK, you have this infrastructure levy, you have some other aspects how developer and the finance contributes to heritage. For example, there are in Batumi, we know that the whole city is developed, and there is no little levy which supports heritage. For example, if a developer builds something, there should be a token which kind of supports that heritage, and it evolves into a huge fund which can be really used to save our heritage. Actually, there could be a tax breaks or whatever. But Tatia, what do you think? Is it important to have that listing, and what what kind of grades should we have?
Yeah, we have some clarify about it, about the law. We have our halo with this law about the cultural protection, cultural heritage. About the gradation, we have three types of gradation. The first of all, very high, it's protected under UNESCO. We have three monuments under protected UNESCO. One is Bagrati and Gelati. Unfortunately, 10 years ago, Gelati is included about from the methodology, problem of the methodology, but we have still Ushguli, absolutely amazing settlement for the medieval period, and also we have Kutaisi included in this list, and we have a lot of regional monuments also. In Georgia, we have in general 11,840 buildings, we called cultural heritage building, and we have also some monuments. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we have a lot of cultural significance building, but this building not included in the list of cultural heritage. You know, this site where we are now, it's incredible example of late Soviet modernism, but not still have the status. And we are looking at this object also because in Tbilisi, 1783 building we have under protection of cultural heritage. And what you think, how many it goes to late Soviet modernism, 10 or 11? You know, but we have a lot, and we need to think about it because we need to regularly inventory to explore some more significant building, and after make some research and make some registration cards officially to get status. And I know it's very difficult to working with the heritage building to find some balance between new protection, old, and make new. But I think it's a very big challenge and dream for the old build architecture, and I think you are lucky also, and you are lucky also to have experience to work with these historical buildings, because I think the heritage is some small diamond, and you can find, if you want to sparkling this diamond, you can, but if you want to die, you can also. Our law about cultural heritage is for other points strict, but for other point very flexible. Because you can make the strictly restoration depend of this law, and also make a reliable adaptation also. But it depends what you want to make heritage. But first of all, it's for me to understand the real value of heritage. It goes through deeper educational issues, I think, and after the law, also very strict law. And I think it's very important also for us, for a very small country, international experience and international reflection from this point of view, because we need some more very good methodology to connect it with our heritage. We need the more international experience, also good quality restorers and architects who will involve in this process.
Thank you very much. So we are a little bit running out of time, but Levan, maybe you can summarize. Is it important to save Soviet architecture? How is it kind of...
You see, I started my architectural practice in the years of when this modernist architecture flourished in Georgia, you see. But at the same time, there were many controversies at that time. There was how Georgian architects looked at this, to the city. And something, today for me it's a little bit strange that I am defending some buildings which at that time when I started this practice was not so close to me. But I understand, years gave me this experience that there is something you should learn every time. It does not depend how much this building suits city or something. You can always learn something from this building, and we still have a lot to learn from our previous generation, who worked in different environment, but made something valuable for us.
Thank you very much. I think it was a very brief and very fruitful discussion, and I don't know if we have time from the audience to have some questions, but specific, but well, do we? What? Sorry? Okay, all right. So we finished. Thank you very much. That was great.